So this next video will make you question everything. And by looking at the title, I mean everything. So remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's check this out.
What is the expertise that you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that a book, an award-winning book like All Boys Aren't Blue, isn't appropriate for students to read? What is your expertise?
What a tragic story. In what context is a strap-on acceptable for public school?
I've never seen nobody get beat down like this. This video is brought to you by TatumStore.com. TatumStore.com. Get the link in the description section. Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to get notification anytime I go live, make a video. Y'all already know what to do. Let's get into this. Oh my gosh. Y'all listen to me. I was sent the video. I watched the first 30 seconds of the video. And I said, I have to make this video. I am blown away at how this beatdown happened. I can't. I'm dumbfounded. Somebody at Joy Reid's news station didn't do homework at all. They put the wrong woman up here because this right here should end Joy Reid's career forever. Nobody would ever listen to her again. This woman must have hit her with a combination of punches, and they were devastating. And I'm talking about figuratively, right? YouTube. But y'all gotta watch this. I want to give this lady a hug. I want to donate $1 million to her. She was so good. Because these leftist lunatics put out a narrative, but they never get challenged on the narrative. And people aren't bold enough to come on the show and just But that's what happened. Without me running my mouth, put your seatbelt on. This is finna get crazy. Roll the clip.
The question I'm asking is, what is the expertise that you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that a book, an award-winning book like All Boys Aren't Blue, isn't appropriate for students to read? What is your expertise?
What a tragic story of a young man who's by his adult family member. So you have incest, pedophilia. Joy, you said you'd let me answer, so I'm going to answer
Please
for you. In what context is a strap-on acceptable for public school? That's my question to you. Tell me what the context around the strap-on or the rape of a minor child by a teacher.
Hold on a second.
No, we're talking about public school.
There is no hold up. There is no hold up. What you mean hold up a second? Hold up what? You mean this is on the shelf for my child to read? I mean, if my child needs to hear about those type of situations happening in the world, don't you think it should start with me as the parent so I can make sure that we talk about it in the right manner? Am I not afforded that being my child? What do you mean hold up? I'm getting hot thinking about this, or that this could be on a shelf in a school that I send my child to. We are lost. How did we get here?
Oh, that's too much, bro. That's too much for me. God dang. How's she gonna answer that? Man, who is Moms of Liberty? God dang.
Moment.
All right.
So now you've asked me questions.
Sure.
I'm gonna answer it.
Okay.
Well, who is the main character? What's the name of the main character in All Boys Aren't Blue?
You're asking me right now.
You just gave me very specific information about this book, so you're presenting yourself as somebody expert.
It's the gentleman.
Hold on. Who's the main character in the book?
The main character is the author.
What's his name?
George, I believe, is his first name.
Because you're giving me very specific information that is.
Well, don't try to. Y'all check this out. I'm gonna play the video, but this is what they do. People do me like this all the time in debates. When I would debate black conservatives that are black first, they always have this idea of Marcus Garvey or something, some obscure person that is irrelevant in real black history, and they'll ask you a question about him that you know, and then they think they want to debate. It's like, bro, you ask me some question about some obscure fact somewhere that.
Fam, I don't care what side you on, and I guess this is where you gonna get to know me real quick. I ain't talking about this guy here. I'm just talking to everybody in general. I don't care what side y'all on. You know what I'm saying? Right is right and wrong is wrong. And I think that's where we're kind of lost at. You know? having that book on the shelves, that type of graphic book, it strips the kids of their innocence. What happened to going to school and reading about stories from the Bernstein Bears or Stein Bears or whatever you feel the name of them used to be, and the Mandela effect changed? What happened to Clifford the Big Red Dog? What happened to things like that? You got a little older. You got into the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. You got into all that type of stuff. What happened to that? When did we feel the need to go this graphic? When? I don't understand why we feel the need that they should be had this thrusted upon them at this age, young age.
That I need to actually do some research to verify if you even telling me the truth. This is what she's doing. Who's the character? What the hell does that got to do with strap on?
I want to know what age, because I'm getting upset, and this might not be in the young age school. So if I'm wrong, I don't know. But it just came off like it was in younger kids' school. So I need to know what schools this was in. Even you know what I mean? Like,
this stuff.
You're asking me to remember the name of an author.
You
the
just
name of the
remembered
author
very
doesn't
specific things.
joy.
Here's my
We're
question.
talking about
Here's my
strap.
question.
You didn't answer my
No.
question.
I'm going to answer your
Great.
question.
I would love to hear that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm interviewing you and you're not interviewing me. So let's just make sure it's a conversation. Okay.
Okay, great.
So what I'm saying to you is that as you are not an expert in this book,
I don't
or
have to
hold
be an
on.
expert
No.
to know that aren't appropriate for public school. I mean, come on, let's get real.
This book is a full context story, as you said, of the author's experience. Why is it your right, or a Moms for Liberty activist's right, to say that a parent who wants their child to have access to this book, which gives a personal experience of this author, why doesn't a liberal parent, for instance, or a parent of an LGBTQ kid, why don't they have a right for their child to just have access to this book? Why is it your right to say they can't?
So again, we're talking about incest and pedophilia.
And
Boy,
each parent, each parent has to decide what is appropriate for their child to read. So I want you to answer. I'm going to ask it one more time.
Right.
What is your right to tell a parent who wants their child, who might feel seen by this story? Why don't they have the right? Why don't they have the right as a parent to say, my child can have access to this book?
If a child feels seen by this story, that means that they have been the victim of a predator. That means that they have either been by a family member, they've experienced.
And your that is what?
You just said that
What's
if a child feels seen by this story. What I'm saying, Joy,
you're now making assumptions.
No, Joy, but if a child has been, we should do a lot better than put a book on a library
Now you're literally creating a story.
She don't want her to talk. She don't want her to talk.
You do have a right as a parent for your child to read that if you want to do that. Do that if you want to do that. That's your choice. I cannot control what you expose your child to. But you said it was on the bookshelves. That's what I'm hearing. That means my child has access to it, if I'm understanding this correctly, is what y'all are saying. If it's being in the school, then it's on the bookshelves. Then it has access to the other kids. I may not want my child to have access to that. When you put it in the school, it's access for everyone. Therein lies the problem. If you want your kid to have access to that, that is fine. What you do in your home and what you do with your kid, nothing I can do or say about that. I have no right. But when you put it in the school, public school, then my kid has access to that. And I don't want him to read that. I'd rather us, when I feel my child is mature enough to understand and properly articulate what he is reading, then I can feel we can have these type of conversations. Until that moment, go be a kid.
She made a point. If you feel seen by a story of, think about this. If they had a story, and I'm going to play the clip, I promise y'all. If they had a story about a kid living in Paradise Valley, Arizona, in a multi-million-dollar house, and all he did was eat caviar and filet mignon every day, and they present that book in the school, and I feel seen by that book. If I feel seen, that means I have a connection with the experience. And that's exactly what she's saying. If a kid feels seen by a person being that essentially has been abused by a predator, there's more to a book is not the solution of having a kid relive trauma through reading a mandatory book in school. They probably should see counseling and never have that exposure to something like that again outside of a professional help. That's what she's saying. But Joy can't answer, so she got to keep doing what she's doing.
Behind a child that you don't know. Let me show you a form. This is a form that can be obtained in Broward County, Florida.
Okay.
I'm going to show it to the audience, and then I'm going to show it to you. Okay. This is called
Can
the
I see
opt.
it?
Yeah, please. I'm going to hand it
Thank
to you.
you so much.
It's called the opt-out form.
Okay.
An opt-out form would allow any parent, because you said you are in favor of parental rights.
I am.
It would allow any parent to opt out of their child being able to take books out of the library without their parents' permission.
Okay.
So that Moms for Liberty, why not advocate that every school in America have an opt-out form so that a parent who doesn't want their child to access a book like All Boys Aren't Blue,
right,
that they can make that choice, because then each parent, including a liberal parent, a black parent, a parent who wants their child to read a book about African-American history, then they get their
we want
rights.
children to read books.
Why not just opt out
so.
for yourself rather than tell other parents what they can and cannot?
First
have
of
their
all,
children
I
read?
think what you're talking about here is a wonderful step in the right direction.
I
We
agree.
should be having conversations about this. This is about local control. A lot of these decisions are made at the local school board level, and that's where these decisions should be made. And there should be vibrant conversations about what's happening in our public schools and what kids have access to. Joy, however, maybe we
This opt-out form, I want to hear more about that.
could just put all the books with all the graphic sexual content.
I'm sorry.
Let's do
I'm
a,
so sorry.
Let's do
Excuse
a back
me,
room.
excuse me,
Let's
excuse
put a
me,
curtain up
excuse me.
in the library
First
like
of all,
they used
hold
to
on.
do.
One moment,
in the video
one moment.
stores. Remember
The
when we were
books that
little
Moms
and you
for
would go to the
Liberty-
video
the
store?
book-
She does have a point with that. Remember, if some of y'all remember the video stores, ours were called Video Warehouse, and the adult videos were back in a room with a door shut to them. They weren't out in the open with all the other videos, the PG-13s, the rated Rs. Those movies that were adult movies were in those back rooms. They had a door and it was locked, and you had to go to the desk as an adult to get the key to go back there and to access that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to hear more about the opt-out form.
Books that Moms for
And they
Liberty.
put those
The books that Moms for
videos
Liberty.
with
I know that you.
curtain.
I've seen.
We could just do that in
I
the
have
public
seen
library.
tapes of
Does
what
that
Moms for
sound
Liberty does.
appropriate?
Let's see, bring on the show and then talk over. It's these people are nuts.
And you all go into school board meetings
Joy,
and you
this
read
is a
graphic stuff.
disingenuous conversation.
No, it's not.
There's America used to understand that there's something called age-appropriate content.
Right, and here's my
We have
question again.
ratings on movies.
Again. Ruby Bridges goes to school.
See, this is the gaslighting that these liberals do. Fundamental issue, and this is the problem with opt out. This is like saying a teacher at the school can talk to your kid about sex positions, or the parent can opt out. First of all, you shouldn't be talking about that in the school, because if the parent is unaware, they may not have the kid opt out. If the parents are unaware that books like this exist in the school, which never existed before in the history of schooling in America, they may not know to opt their kids out. You don't thrust in graphic behavior and hope that they opt out. No, they should be able to opt into stuff. They shouldn't be able to have to opt out. You should be.
See, that's where the funniness comes in for me. Then, if the parents don't know, then no, the kids should never have access to this stuff. Period. I feel like that would be a lawsuit on a school waiting to happen. No, my child shouldn't be exposed to anything that I have not had prior knowledge to. Period. I would think everything is presented to the parents at the beginning of each school year. What's in the curriculum? What does your child have access to? The syllabus. Remember syllabus? All of that type of stuff. So you are made aware and you're able to say, no, I don't want my child to have that. No, I don't want to have this. You know what I mean? Because later on in school, then you start being exposed to sex education, and the topic of the conversation starts to slowly progress to becoming more mature. You know, these are things. Yes, you do have to have some type of conversations, but where we are as a society now, it's very extreme. So yeah, and parents, if this isn't a wake-up call for y'all to get more involved, I don't know what else you need. You have to be involved in your kid's schooling and what's going on these days, or if not,
pushing this generically in the library at a school. And then you hope the parents can go and do the research and look at every book that they have in the school and hope that none of it is inappropriate. You would assume as a parent that all the books are appropriate, age appropriate. She had made mention about.
But then that's where I disagree with him right there. You can't assume these days. If you're paying attention to what's going on in the world, you cannot assume these days. You have to be an active parent.
You know, the kid, they having stuff in the. Listen, there is ratings to movies. You can't watch a certain movie if PG-13. That means any kid under 13 can't watch the movie. You know, rated R. Anybody, I think below 18, maybe 16, I don't know what rated R is. I think it may be adult content. So it'll be anybody under 18 can't watch a rated R movie. I mean, technically, I don't know what rated R is, but you get what I'm saying. There's age restrictions and age appropriateness even in movies. So the same thing should be applicable in books. If you're describing a graphic sexual encounter, that's not age appropriate for young people. And a parent shouldn't have to go through the library and look at every book and make sure they're all good and then opt out because they see one or two books that's not appropriate. The problem is that if you have 400,000 appropriate books and 25 inappropriate books, why would a parent opt out of 400,000 good books? The thing is that if you got 25 books in there that are inappropriate, they should not be in the library. And parents who want to re-traumatize their children and expose them to pedophilia and sex acts, they can go buy the book on their own and subject their own child to it. When it's authorized, a public school, that means it's sanctioned by the government, that it's appropriate for your children. I don't get, you know, of course, Joy Reid is disingenuous. You can see in the interview, she wouldn't let the lady talk. She go, do you know who the author of the book? She don't need to know who the author of the book is if she know the subject matter in the book. I don't need to know the main character of a book if the subject matter is inappropriate. That's like saying you got a book and the person that's in the book is a serial killer. Who you know who the main character is? I don't know who the main character is. I just know the book is about serial killing, and you're presenting to elementary school students. I don't even know how our country is even in this position. It's very clear, but disingenuous black people and liberals, white and black liberals, they're so disingenuous and I don't know if she have kids or not, or she probably raised them horribly if she think this is appropriate. This is not necessary.
I don't agree with, you know what I mean? You can't say that. I don't know if she have kids or not. She might have raised them horribly. I ain't finna say that about nobody. You know what I mean? Listen, I'm gonna keep it moving, but yeah, I feel strongly about this. Parents, become active in your kids' school. Become active in what they're doing. If not, then, and I'm not saying that's going to be easy. It's not by any means, bro. You know what I mean? All you can do is be the best parent you can be and live with the results.
Social media is a very powerful tool. But we're here because every parent I know, and I think every parent in America, is terrified.
Been terrified.
About the garbage that is directed at our kids. I have 2 teenagers at home. And the phones they have are portals to predators, to viciousness, to bullying, to self-harm. And each of your companies could do a lot more to prevent it. Mr. Zuckerberg, in June of 2023, the Wall Street Journal reported that Instagram's recommendation systems were actively connecting pedophiles to accounts that were advertising the sale of child sexual abuse material. In many cases, those accounts appeared to be run by underage children themselves, often using code words and emojis to advertise illicit material. In other cases, the accounts included indicia that the victim was being sex trafficked. Now, I know that Instagram has a team that works to prevent the abuse and exploitation of children online. But what was particularly concerning about the Wall Street Journal expose was the degree to which Instagram's own algorithm was promoting the discoverability of victims for pedophiles seeking child abuse material. In other words, this material wasn't just living on the dark corners of Instagram. Instagram was helping pedophiles find it by promoting graphic hashtags,
Jesus,
including hashtag pedwhore and hashtag preteen sex to potential buyers. Instagram also displayed the following warning screen to individuals who were searching for child abuse material. These results may contain images of child sexual abuse. And then you gave users two choices: get resources or see results anyway. Mr. Zuckerberg, what the hell were you thinking?
All right, Senator. The basic science behind that is that when people are searching for something that is problematic, it's often helpful to, rather than just blocking it, to help direct them towards something that that could be helpful for getting them to get help.
In what, I understand get resources. In what sane universe is there a link for see results anyway?
Well, because we might be wrong. We try to trigger this warning, or we tried to, when we think that there's any chance that the results.
Okay, you might be wrong. Let me ask you: how many times was this warning screen displayed?
I don't know, but the
you don't know. Why don't you know?
I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. But
what, you know what, Mr. Zuckerberg? It's interesting you say you don't know it off the top of your head, because I asked it in June of 2023 in an oversight letter, and your company refused to answer. Will you commit right now to, within 5 days, answering this question for this committee?
We'll follow up on that.
Is that a yes? Not a will follow up. I know how lawyers write statements saying we're not going to answer. Will you tell us how many times this warning screen was displayed? Yes or no?
Senator, I'll personally look into it. I'm not sure if we have.
Okay, so you're refusing to answer that. Let me ask you this. How many times did an Instagram user who got this warning that you're seeing images of child, how many times did that user click on see results anyway? I want to see that.
Senator, I'm not sure if we stored that, but I'll personally look into this and we'll follow up after.
And what follow-up did Instagram do when you have a potential clicking on I'd like to see child?
This is horrifying. Horrifying. Bro. And a lot of y'all are looking at this for the first time, just like me. And it's horrified to know that this was even taking place. And then the ones that said, oh, y'all were ridiculing about keeping their kids off of the internet and social media. You were ridiculing people for doing that. Now they're looking like geniuses. And we're sitting back saying, oh my gosh, we didn't know this was going on.
What did you do next when that happened?
Senator, I think that an important piece of context here is that any context that we think is child sex.
That's called a question. What did you do next when someone clicked? You may be getting child images and they click see results anyway. What was your next step? You said you might be wrong. Did anyone examine, was it in fact child material? Did anyone report that user? Did anyone go and try to protect that child? What did you do next?
They showed
Senator,
it.
we take down anything that we think is sexual abuse material on the service, and we do.
Did anyone verify whether it was in fact child material?
Senator, I don't know if every single search result we're following up on, but
did you report the people who wanted it?
Senator, do you want me to answer your question?
Yeah, I want you to answer the question I'm asking. Did you report the people who click see results anyway?
That's probably one of the factors that we use in reporting. And in general, I mean, we've reported more people and done more reports like this to NCMEC, the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, than any other company in the industry. We proactively go out of our way across our services to do this and have made, I think it's more than 26 million reports, which is more than the whole rest of the industry combined. So,
Mr. Zuckerberg, your company and every social media company needs to do much more to protect children. All right, Mr. Chu, in the next couple of minutes.
Jeez. Listen, I mean, as cringy as this is, I think we can all agree this needs to happen. On a public platform, on a public stage, in front of everyone. This needs to happen. Because we're sick and tired of hearing the stories about what's happening to children. This needs to happen. If this is an avenue that they're using to continue to exploit the children, then this needs to happen. as horrifying as that may seem to some, to bear witness to this back and forth between the senator and Mark Zuckerberg, this needs to happen in order to protect these kids. Because although Mark is saying a lot has been done, a lot more needs to be done. Seriously. Listen, man, this was a tough video tonight. You know what I mean? And there may be some more tough ones to come. Y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Stick around and stay tuned. Till next one, I'm gone.